The Amazulu royal family heads to court today. The late King Goodwill Zwelithini's first wife, Queen Sibongile, and her two daughters are challenging the validity of his will. They claim it should not stand as some of the signatures are forged. King Misuzulu has been installed as the heir to the throne, but it's said that the opposing faction wants the crown for Prince Smagate, the eldest son of the late king. So let's get an update then from eNCA's Lethiwe Mdluli, who has been tracking that story for us. We saw that activity outside court there, Lethiwe, the regents, the various, members of the, the various people from various parts of KwaZulu-Natal who had come in support of the king. But what was happening inside court in terms of determining one way or another the validity of the late king's will?
Well, so let's see what I can tell you about some of the events that have been taking place inside court is that the two lawyers representing the two factions from the Zulu Royal House have been going head to head, arguing their arguments, basically just saying that one lawyer is representing the faction that is opposed to King Misuzulu being the next king, and the other one being that of King Misuzulu Zwelithini. Some of the arguments from the lawyers representing Queen Sibongile Mdluli Zulu, they are saying that she is the only wife who was married in property of community, which means that her marriage is the only one that stands, and she has been asking for 50% of the royal estate. And in her affidavit that she submitted, she is also seeking for the court to have the other marriages declared invalid. So those are some of the arguments that we've been hearing inside court, especially from her legal representatives. But of course, the representatives from the faction of King Misuzulu are saying that the court does not have the right to declare those marriages invalid to the other 5 wives. So that's the main matter that has been discussed for now, and we do understand that there are 2 other matters. The one representing the 2 daughters who are questioning the will and also saying that some of those signatures contained in that will were forged, and that matter is the second matter, and we do understand that they will be touching on that as well. But for now, we are hearing arguments about Queen Sibongile Mdluli Zulu saying that she is entitled to 50% of the Zulu Royal House estate.
Yeah, so I imagine then, Lethiwe, that this must be a bit complex, really, because it's an area of family law that talks to something of a medley, in a way, between a marriage concluded in terms of the Marriages Act, but at the same time, issues of customary marriages. And I don't know, in terms of the arguments themselves, what is central to the arguments, for example, of the counsel for the other wives, the other queens? What is the argument that they are raising around why the Queen Sibongile's marriage to the late king should not be the only one that is recognized in this instance?
So for now, we've been hearing arguments from Advocate Masondo, who is representing King Misuzulu Zwelithini, and he is saying that the court does not have the right to declare those marriages invalid because they were customary marriages, and that is, of course, a separate matter. He is also saying that nowhere near the affidavit does it state that Queen Sibongile Mdluli Zulu actually wanted these marriages declared invalid, and he is questioning why the legal representative of Mdluli are now raising this issue, because in the affidavits that they have, there is no indication where they indicated that they want these marriages declared invalid. So those are the arguments that we're currently hearing. But I should also mention that I had a chance to speak to some of the supporters who came in support of King Misuzulu Zwelithini being the king or the next king. And what I heard from them, speaking to them, is that they are in support of what is currently happening. They are in support of him becoming the next king. I spoke to them, Izintombi were outside and also Amabutho were outside. They were displaying placards with names saying that they are in support of what is currently happening, and they are hoping that the courts will make the right decision in declaring all of this, what is happening, invalid. And they are hoping that the people, the Zulu people, will be the ones who would be choosing their king. They are also saying that, or assuming that there is a third hand or someone from the outside who's fueling the fire within the royal family, but they did not want to elaborate further on that. So now we are currently on a break. Tulasizwe, court will resume at 2:15, and we'll be hearing more of those arguments, two sides of the royal family.
All right. Thank you for that, Lethiwe. It makes absolute sense the way you have explained it in terms of what the arguments have been inside court there. And yeah, good luck to you. Strap yourself in. You are in for some serious family law lessons for the duration of that matter in court there. That's eNCA's Lethiwe Mdluli there. She's been tracking developments at the High Court in Pietermaritzburg. It does seem to be a bit complex, where you have a civil marriage, as they call it, concluded, I assume, in terms of either the Marriages Act or the predecessor to the Marriages Act. And then at the same time, you have a number of other marriages that have been concluded in terms of customary law. A lot has happened.